So now it's time to export our code outside of Einstein Discovery. And this is the point at which when I saw Einstein Discovery being demoed at the Salesforce World Tour in Chicago, it's when I saw the R code export that I was really and truly blown away, because I was pretty impressed with Einstein Discovery, but once I saw the ability to generate R code through the use of clicks instead of code, I realized once again that Salesforce has broken new ground, just like they did before with the Force.com platform and the ability to build world-class enterprise-level apps with clicks instead of code. Now with Einstein Discovery, they're doing, it's like history's repeating itself, but this time in the area of artificial intelligence and data science in the ability to generate R code. It was amazing. So if you notice, if you click on the share and export button here, we've got our export options for PowerPoint and Microsoft Word. Now there's no option for R code here. There's a couple of ways to get to R code, and it really depends on the type of graphs that you have and the type of insights that you have. So if we click on our 17 insights there for our data set, and this is the same data set that Salesforce provides through their Trailhead Trail, and if you scroll down here, you see different options as far as these different insights go. And it really just depends on the type of recommended insight that you click on and the type of insight that you're dealing with. And so, for example, we've got what happened selected here. Once you select some of these other options, you'll start to see the R code export display itself. And so, for example, if I click what changed over time and then one of these results, for example, we see that there's no R code export here, but we can add insights, or we can click the gear icon here to make further chart options. I'm going to close that though and show you some of the other options, like why it happened, and then we're going to select one of the results. And now you notice the difference here is that not only do we have add insight and the gear icon, but we have the R code export option. So I wanted to show you how you can get to the R code export option, and there's only certain types of insights that this is available through. And so one such insight that you can use is the why it happened selection, which we did. So you've got to select why it happened and then a result to expose the R code designation or export option. And so one thing, and I mentioned previously that I'd speak a little bit more about these type of recommended insights. And so when you're dealing with the why it happened insight, these are graphs that are diagnostic. That's the thing to keep in mind. And there might be several factors that contribute to like a visual pattern that you see in a graph. And so for each descriptive graph, Einstein Discovery, it'll automatically check what other factors might be contributing to the pattern that it's showing here. And so diagnostic graphs such as this one, they help ensure that patterns you focus on are real and not accidents in the data. So that's the main thing to keep in mind with the why it happened insights, is that these are diagnostic. And then also what Salesforce has done, and this is what makes this tool so powerful, and this is for the sake of transparency and to appease or assuage the data scientists in the crowd, is that experts can export and review the precise model that was generated as part of the analysis in the form of open standards compliant R code by clicking the R button. So without further ado, we're finally going to click this thing and show you what this looks like. And so this is the R code that is displayed. Now, this is a powerful tool, and this is, I think, a way to leapfrog your progression as your studies of data scientists or artificial intelligence. This is a way to build these models and then export as R code, and then you can take this further into other tools such as RStudio or other visualization tools as well. And this really gets you well on your way to creating R code, because a lot of it's done for you, and then you can just make adjustments as needed. So I'm scrolling down to show how verbose this R code is. It goes into the entire model that was generated. And so I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and we're going to speak a little bit about what you find at the bottom of this R code that you can export out of Einstein. And so down at the bottom here, this is what's known as the model validation results. So this is also additionally helpful and useful for further data analysis, is these validation results. And so now you know how to export R code, and that's specifically through the why it happened insights. Now, there's other options available from these insights, such as what could happen. And then as well, you always want to click on one of these corresponding results to see this refresh. And you notice that what could happen also has the R code export option available to it as well. And then how can I improve it? And clicking on that result, you notice as the screen refreshes and we say change region from Japan to Germany, for example, it shows what happens there if you were to do that. And then you can export that R code as well. And so the main thing to keep in mind if you're trying to get to the R code, and it wasn't necessarily real easy for me to find when I was beginning my own Einstein Discovery journey, was how to get to the R code. And so the main ones are why it happened, what could happen, and how can I improve it. And you can also refer to the online help for these different recommended insight types and find more information on these different types of graphs and what's available from each. Now that we've rounded out the share and export options that are available to us inside of Salesforce Einstein Discovery, I'm next going to show you a few more data sets that you can import into Einstein Discovery and play around with and get more familiar with this powerful tool